Here we are, everybody. Welcome back to the Qatar Grand Prix at the Pebble Sector Formula 1 League. Had a couple of aborted starts, but hopefully it's going to be third time lucky here, as we got the championship still on the line here. 21 points separating Ken and Justify coming into this penultimate round of the season. Justify starting on pole, Clen in third place right behind him, but Clen could wrap up the championship if he can outscore Justify by 5 points here tonight. So a lot on the line here, and Clen will be extra motivated. I think maybe Clen might have been promoted to second because I think Basin has left. So Basin isn't taking this restart. So Basin was going to be second, but now looks like he's not going to be here. So this now puts Clen alongside Justify at the front of the grid. Here we go. And Basin did take the start. As Clen's got done for a drive. Oh, he's jumped the start. Oh, you couldn't make it up. Clen has jumped the start as Justify is in second place behind him. As we can see, there's Badman ahead of G.C. and Scott. Basin has absolutely plummeted out down the leaderboard on this opening lap. What on earth has happened there to Basin? But Clen, with a drive-through penalty, is going to have to absolutely wing it here around this circuit and try and get in the pits and minimise his time loss here. He'd be better off waiting until lap 3 when he can have as much of a gap as he can out the front, and then hopefully for him come out in a reasonably handy position as T's moved ahead of C. Faulkner up into 6th place here on this first lap. He's made that, or C. Faulkner back down the inside and has actually made the move back with him there up into 6th place. As we can see, there's somebody ever so wide there in the background. Draga, they're getting passed by Mango, so Mango into the points paying positions here in the early stages of this race. But Clen leading the race, having jumped the start, and is going to have to come in for a drive-through in his opening few laps. Justify there running in second place, the net leader with Badman, G.C. and Scott, and C. Faulkner just ahead of T there after those two went side by side through a few corners here on this first lap of the race. But that is huge news here. The championship leader, the man who could have wrapped it up here tonight, he can still wrap it up, but he'll need a lot of luck if he is to do so. As we see, Basin's moved ahead of Draga up into 11th place, as Draga's not able to come back at him there, so Basin has that move done up into 11th. We see Street Boy has got around John up into P15, and Clen is coming in at the end of the first lap. So despite what I thought about how he might try and long it out, Clen has decided to come in at the first time of asking. So he's now got that drive-through done and out of the way. Now he's in clean air. He can try and get his foot down and see what he's able to do from there. But Justify out in front, leading the race. If the race were to finish right now, Justify would be leading the championship by 4 points going into Thursday's finale. But we know what Clen's like. He'll definitely be able to come back. Whether he'll be able to get back in the points, we'll have to see. But we could be seeing a new championship leader going into the final round on Thursday, and that will be absolutely massive for us viewers here on Clegg Comms here tonight at the Pebble Sector. Fans, I'm sure will be absolutely very stoked up to see that, as we saw Rexy Boy going a bit wide there through that right-hander, wasn't he? Also, Truckee seems to be a bit out of offline as well, but they're all getting through safely at the moment. Clen currently 8 seconds off of the next car, running in 16th place, John. So I have to keep an eye on Clen as he closes up onto the back markers here. But it's Justify leading by almost a second head of Badman. Badman's kept himself within DRS range though, and might be able to give Justify a bit of a headache over the course of this first stint. There's G.C. Scott and C. Faulkner, your top 5 at the moment, as they come around the final corner here to complete lap 2 of the race. But situation is that championship leader down in P17 after coming in for an early drive-through penalty. Justify is also on the medium tyres, so should have some pace in the first part of this race. G.C. has got the softs on, and he's certainly putting pressure here on the back of Justify and Badman as a result of it. But Justify going for the faster tyre, and G.C. going for the very, very short-lived soft tyre there. But most of the top 10 going for the hard tyres. Obviously Justify, G.C. and C. Faulkner being the exception as well. C. Faulkner's gone for the medium tyres as well, but G.C. going for a short burst first stint here for all this one. And Justify currently out the front, needs to make the most of these medium tyres in this first stint, because he'll have the hards in the second stint. Maybe the hards the preferred tyre, but we'll have to see how it all pans out. Justify's got the gap almost over a second here to Badman, but Badman is just about clinging on to that 1 second barrier at the moment. As we see, John's moved ahead of White Shadow up into 15th place. White Shadow also sporting a penalty as well. Clen now 5 seconds off at the back of the pack, so he is closing the gap rapidly as we speak. But Justify out the front has got the gap just over a second now to Badman, so he might breathe a sigh of relief. Was he outside the 1 second at the detection point? We're about to find out. Let's have a look at the rear wing of the Sauber of Badman. He was actually within the detection point when they crossed over it, so Badman still gets the DRS, but he's a long way behind going into turn 1, and Justify is comfortable out there in the lead of the race. As we look to the background here, we've got Rexy Boy looking to make a move here up the inside of C-Mac into turn 1, a little bit too far away. Basin here waiting in the wings, looking excited here on the back of the Ferrari, so he'll be looking to try and get involved if he can. Basin with a cracking qualified in 2nd place. I think got a 1 place grid penalty, I'm not sure why. Ended up starting in 3rd. But he's currently on the back of C-Mac and Rexy Boy in this fight for 7th place. So he'll be looking to try and get himself up the order as quickly as he can. We know he's got pace here around this track. We've seen it before over the course of tonight, obviously in qualifying, namely. Clen now only 3 seconds off at the back of the pack, so he is rapidly closing in on the back markers here. Mango here looking on the back of Street Boy, looking pretty racy as they come through the final corner. Is he going to have a chance to... sorry, not the final corner, let's see if it's the middle sector. Sorry, it just looked very like the final corner, but it certainly wasn't. But Mango, for the time being, still sat behind Street Boy in this fight for 13th place. Justifies gap to Badman still just under a second. Badman currently sticking to the task very nicely here, as he just once again there just drops out of a second, but I think was once again within the detection point when they went through the DRS detection line, so he will once again get the DRS down the straight. Justify not quite able to shake off our newcomer to the league from 2 weeks ago. As we see Scott there looking to the inside of G.C. into turn 1, and on those hard tyres, the soft tyres already are going to be starting to pull the pace there for G.C. Scott wastes no time at all in dispatching the Red Bull there, as we see Bason's moved ahead of C-Mac up into P8, and looks as though Matty Pitt's now closing up onto the back of Drauga in this fight for the points, as well as White Shadow and John still battling here. White Shadow's made the move on him into P15. Mango's actually dropped a load of places here. I'm not sure what's happened to Mango, but he must have had some sort of to-do, because he's now down in 14th place with the Haas and the Sauber all over the back of him here. And there is the championship leader in the background, reminiscent of Sebastian Vettel, Brazil 2012. At the moment, you can see he's pumping in the laps. He could even be the fastest car on track at the moment, we're not sure, but he is absolutely steaming up behind these back markers, and he'll be hoping that he can get past them without any major problems here. He'll be praying that these guys don't hold him up or be too aggressive. But at the moment, White Shadow Hull is really pressuring the back of Mango. Oh, it's a bit of contact there, actually. He just tapped him in the rear a little bit, which I'm sure Mango's not going to be too chuffed with. And White Shadow here really looking racy. He's got John queuing up behind him. These guys have got Clen, who will be wanting to dispatch them without too much drama. As we see Bason's moved ahead of Rexy Boy up into 7th place. Bason's now got a 3-second penalty as well, though, for track limits, so he needs to be careful with that. G.C. and Scott side by side here into turn 1, as Scott's trying to go around the outside of G.C. G.C. managed to get back ahead over the course of that lap, but Scott's now made the move again there up into 3rd place, as these two trading places. Rexy Boy's got back ahead of Basin as well up into 7th place. It's all going off at the moment, as Basin trying to hold it around the outside, might be vulnerable here to C-Mac as a result, but stays with his teammate for the time being. Now Basin looking to the inside here of the Ferrari of Rexy Boy. Is he going to make that move? He's almost off the track there as he poked his nose down the inside. Rexy Boy holding it around the outside for the time being with the better momentum there, manages to stay ahead of the Alpine. As look at this, we've got C-Mac now looking up the inside of Basin as well. Basin leaves him a space on the inside and just about clings onto that one. That was a close call there between those two, but Basin's still in 8th place at the moment. But that was tight there between those two. C-Mac still giving it everything. Matty Pitt just waiting in the background here, waiting in the wings. Likewise, Drauga as well is just waiting for an opportunity here to pounce, with these cars all battling in front of them. There's currently 5 of them in a line here, battling for 7th place, being led by Rexy Boy. But Rexy Boy still holding on to this position for the time being, but by the skin of his teeth, I'll tell you that. As the leaders coming down the start-finish straight again, Justifying Badman separated by about a second, but once again Badman keeping it within that DRS detection, which is crucial here for his race to stay in this fight for the lead. There's Scott and G.C. still running in 3rd and 4th places. C. Faulkner very much in that fight there for the podium places still. Glenn has managed to pick off Mango John and White Shadow, and he's currently 5 seconds off at the back of Street Boy at the moment. So Glenn continuing to carve his way through the pack here. But this is the battle for third place here. Scott, G.C. and C. Fortman are still going at it at the moment. As Drauga's got a 3-second penalty there for track limits, so that's not going to be ideal at all there for Drauga. Currently in a battle here for 7th place at the rear of that quintet. But C. Fortner here still trying to press the issue as G.C.'s just fallen out of DRS here to Scott, so C. Fortner will be now sensing an opportunity here. This will be a golden opportunity here to try and make this move, seeing as G.C.'s going to be pretty vulnerable here. Maybe G.C. will be coming in at the end of this lap because 7 laps on the soft, so you've got to be pushing it at that point. Let's see what G.C. does as they come through the final corner. Is he going to be peeling off to the right into the pits? No, he's not. But C. Fortner might be a little bit too far away to make a move here into turn 1. He'll get DRS, that'll get him a little bit closer. White Shadow there, I think, with another penalty, is it? As here we go then, G.C. being passed by C. Fortner around the outside, as he's going to have the inside now for the next left-hander. Should have that move done as we go through into the corner now, and C. Fortner has got that move done up into 4th place on those better tyres there. The mediums made much better nick than the softs. But G.C.'s not done yet. He's trying to come back at him into the next corner as C. Fortner takes his line through the corner and fends him off nicely there, and has now got that move done up into 4th place. But the question is, C. Fortner on his medium tyres, can he reel in Scott? Because at this point in the stint, I would hazard a guess that maybe the hards would start to become the best tyre at this stage. So maybe C. Fortner might struggle to close that gap to Scott. Who knows? I reckon at this point in the stint, the mediums and the hards are going to be quite evenly matched. In about 2 or 3 laps time, I would say that the mediums are going to start to fall off, and the hards are going to be by far the better tyre. And that's not going to be good news for Justify, because he's under heavy pressure right now from the Sauber of Badman, who's on those hard tyres. And he is looking a lot closer at the moment than he was in the early laps, I've got to say. As C. Fortner there with a 3-second penalty for track limits as well. But Badman here looking to try and put the pressure here on the back of Justify as they come into turn 1 once again. C-Mac's now got a 3-second penalty as well, so loads of penalties being dished out here by the stewards, by the race director. They are absolutely loving a few penalties here tonight, as Matty Pitts moved ahead of C-Mac up into 9th place, and potentially C-Mac here could be passed by Drauga as well, who's up the inside. Is he going to make that move here? Drauga's still trying to keep himself there. C-Mac in the end is able to fend him off. But let's go back to the leaders here, because Badman is now half a second to Justify. He is much closer. Is he going to keep himself close enough coming out of the final corner? That's going to be where he could make this move with the DRS, the long start-finish straight. So here we go then, Badman very much in striking distance here as they come in towards the final sector. Justify knows tonight is a huge opportunity to close the gap in the championship, with Glenn down in 14th place after that early drive-through. And what is what is Badman able to do to try and maybe just derail Justify's chase? As we see here, Badman has got the DRS down the start-finish straight. He's too far back into turn 1. It's not going to happen this time. As Scott coming into the pits, getting the hard tyres off at the end of lap 9. That is a very early stop for the hards. C. Fortner coming in, getting the mediums off. G.C. No surprise to see him in at this stage. Maybe the hard tyres and one stopping despite starting on the softs. Who knows? Let's see. G.C. puts the mediums on. So G.C. I think is 2 stopping. Scott's gone for the mediums. So yeah, these guys are all 2 stopping. C. Fortner's gone for the softs. Okay, well, clearly G.C. was giving good vibes from that one. So yeah, okay. Oh, and Glenn also into the pits as well, and has gone for another set of hards. Or is it? Oh, he started on the mediums. So Glenn has gone for the mediums. Sorry, for the hards even. I wonder if Clen's going to try and go to the end here. That could be an interesting one. But anyway, Justify and Badman still fighting it out the front. T's got Basin on the back of him here in the battle for third place as well, as these guys are still yet to pit obviously here in this race. But Badman keeping himself very, very cushy to the back here of Justify. Here they come then into the final corner. And he's going to have a massive opportunity here. He's only 0.4 of a second behind with DRS here down the straight. This is surely going to be the lead going for Justify as the Salva here getting the slipstream and the DRS. He's going to be getting closer and closer. The newest driver to the league is about to try and pass the championship contender here into turn one. Justify defends the inside line as Badman's going to try and go around the long way here, but he hasn't got the grip on the outside to do so. Justify sticking to the racing line and is able to defend here into turn three beautifully. And Badman there had a great toe gate going down the start finish straight, but Justify's got good straight line speed. I've noticed that. Despite the car behind him having a slipstream and DRS, Justify was able to hold on with the gap only 0.4 coming out of the last corner. That tells you something about Justify's straight line speed here. So Badman not able to make the move at the moment, but let's see how it pans out over the course of the rest of the stint. Justify, you would think, might be coming in quite soon. 11 laps on the mediums. You would think the hards could do 18 laps. So potentially a one stop here for Justify if he can be nice to those tyres, but Justify for the time being is continuing to weather the storm here of Badman as Badman tries to throw everything at him here. But Badman with nothing to lose here in this championship this season has taken, from his 3 appearances so far here on the Pebble Sector F1 League, he's taken 2 wins and a 2nd place. So Badman's introduction to this league has been absolutely outstanding. And in fact, no, it's not 2 wins from 3. It's actually, how did he do on Tuesday? Do you know what? It's gone, completely gone from my mind what happened on Tuesday now. Did he win again? Yeah, he did win. Yeah, he did win. See, I thought he started on a Thursday, but maybe he started on a Tuesday. It was Mexico, his first race. I know that. That was round 20. This is his 4th appearance. So yeah, he's taken 2 wins from 3. This is his 4th appearance here tonight. So Mexico was on a Tuesday. I was thinking it was on a Thursday for some reason. That's why I was confused. But anyway, Badman still piling the pressure here on the back of Justify. Scott's done the fastest lap of the race so far on fresh medium tyres. Scott currently running in P10. He's on the back of C4. Now he's got a decent undercut, but he's currently trying to make the move on the RB. We're currently watching the battle for the lead though still, as Badman here trying to make a move on the other RB, the championship contender here of Justify. What can he do as they're coming through the middle part of the lap into the final sector now? Now when does Justify box, he'll have a bit of a tyre delta on the guys who are behind him, but he'll obviously come out behind maybe 1 or 2 of them. Or no, he'll come out at least behind the hard tyre runners. So Basin, T, Rexy Boy will come out behind them. Maybe Drauger as well. So it comes in now. Justify will have a little bit of work to do. And he is coming in now. So the race leader comes in. That releases Badman into clean air. That's Justify onto the limiter here and into the box. He'll come in a second. But Badman continues out in front. Basin still yet to pit, likewise T, Rexy Boy, Drauger, Trocky and Street Boy. But Justify's put the hard tyres on. You would think we'll be going to the end from here. So the drivers that are pitted, C. Fortner and Scott coming through the final corner now. Justify should be able to clear them by some way, and indeed he has, so he seems comfortable there as he comes out just ahead of Truckee and Street Boy, who have both pitted, or sorry, are both yet to pit, should I say. C. Fortner and Scott have both pitted as Scott there making a move on C. Fortner into turn 1 and has got that one done up into 9th place, as Street Boy in the meantime has also moved ahead of Truckee, although they're still side by side, and Street Boy does get that move done there coming out of turn 4, so he's now up into 7th place. But Scott there making what could be a crucial move there, could definitely be in the fight for a podium here tonight if he plays his cards right. And he's got ahead of the RB there on the soft tyres. Don't really see any benefits being on the softs, but clearly G.C. felt it in the first stint. C. Fortner has felt it necessary in this middle stint. But for whatever reason, I don't quite know. But I'll tell you what, Justify went a long way on his medium tyres and could be about to reap the benefits massively here, because I don't think he needs to pit again. He'll be hoping and praying that we don't have a safety car here. If we don't, It's going to be good news for him, and it's not going to be great news for his championship rival Glenn, who's currently down in P14 with a lot of work to do here in this race still. As Drauga becomes one of the first hard tyre starters to come into the pits. So that now leaves Badman, Basin T, Rexy Boy, Street Boy and Trucky as the ones that still need to come in and get their hard tyres off. But I reckon they're probably going to push it to about lap 17 or 18, because that's the obvious window for the mediums. About 12, 13 laps you could probably get them to do. So Scott and C4 are close up onto the back of Street Boy here, as they're trying to make some headway here through the cars that haven't pitted yet. As here goes Scott here trying to find a gap if he can. C4 is going to be chomping at the bit to try and capitalise if Scott makes a hash of clearing these back markers. When I say back markers, obviously he's not a lapped car, he is just out of sync with their strategy. So Street Boy under no obligation to wave them by. He can hold his position and fight them as much as he likes. C4 here poking nose up the inside of Scott. Trucky in the background here trying to follow them through if he can, as he's in a fight with Street Boy for track position. But C4 there struggling with a bit of understeer by the looks of it. But Scott here is going to be pretty close here on the back of Street Boy as they come through the final corner, down the start finish straight. Now can Scott make this move with the DRS down the start finish straight? He's going to be pretty close. Surely he's going to have a good opportunity to make this move here. The Mercedes is getting close to the back of the Ferrari and pulls to the inside there. And he's going to make the move way before we get to the corner. So is C. Faulkner as well. Both of those two moving ahead of Street Boy. As we see G.C. Picking off his teammate Trucky into turn 1 and up into 9th place he goes. Those two on different strategies. No surprise to see that swap occurring. But Scott's still ahead of C. Faulkner for the time being. Both of these two now in clean air, having made that move there on Street Boy, which they needed to do quite quickly. They're about 9 seconds behind the net lead of Justify at the moment. So Justify's sole rival for this win tonight is going to be Badman. Badman going long into the first stint, obviously being on the hard tyres. We'll have to run the mediums for the second stint. He'll be wanting to go, I think, as long as he can here to get a good delta on Justify, because I don't think he's got any other real threats nearby. As we see, obviously Justify 9 seconds ahead. Badman's coming in, so that's going to be a 14 lap stint on the medium tyres here for Badman. That's going to be pretty hefty. So in he comes, and he'll be stopping in the box in a second. Basin continues on for the time being. T's into the pits as well. He's going to have to do 14 laps on the mediums. What about Rexy Boy? Is Rexy Boy in? No, Rexy Boy's staying out, so looks like yeah, Justify currently running in second place. Basin still yet to pit. Once Basin comes in, Justify will reassume that race lead. He's got to get ahead of Rexy Boy up into second place. So he's in some clean air right now. We just saw 2 penalties flash up. One of them was White Shadow. The other one just before, I don't know, because it was up for such a short amount of time, as Drauga has just done the fastest lap of the race there on fresh soft tyres. But Justify already 2 seconds ahead of Rexy Boy, having made that move at the beginning of this lap. Gap currently 5 seconds between Basin and Justify. Basin will need to be coming in at the end of this lap, you would think. Surely pushed it further than I think most of them have gone here in this first stint. So is Basin going to come in? Just Basin and Rexy Boy still yet to pit from the hard tyres, and here we go, Basin in at the end of lap 16. Is Rexy Boy going to do the same here? Rexy Boy would be the last driver to bring it in if he is, of the hard tyre starters. Yep, that's it. So now everybody's been in and made at least one pit stop here. We reckon there's plenty of 2 stoppers out there. But Basin and Rexy Boy both in. Basin back out on the track. That now means that we've got Justify leading the race by 7 seconds, having got that 3 lap undercut there on Badman. and Badman is going to have, well, the faster tyres, but certainly I wouldn't say he's going to have the better tyres at this point, because the hard tyres we know are much more durable. After about 5 or 6 laps, you find that the mediums lose their advantage. So I'd say Justify is in a really good position right now. Just needs to keep doing what he's doing and stay consistent. It's been a really solid drive here. Well, not just solid, it's been spectacularly consistent from Justify over the course of tonight. On the night where we really need to step up to the plate, obviously knowing that the gap 21 points in the championship, Glenn leading the way in the standings, but Justify on course to close that gap pretty substantially. And if Glenn can't finish 5th or above in this race, then that is going to mean that Justify will go into the final race basically with the title in his own hands. So pretty much, if he can't get ahead of Badman, Scott or G.C. then Clem will essentially be at the mercy of whether Justify can win the race on Thursday night at Abu Dhabi. That's Badman there with a 1:25.0, fastest lap of the race there from second place, closing the gap a little bit here to Justify, but his tyre advantage will start to wither out as we get closer to the end of the race. As Drauger's got ahead of C-Mac. Oh, as we've got a heck of a battle here going on in the background. We've got Glenn there moving ahead of C-Mac up the inside into turn 1. Now Glenn will be looking to try and dispatch Drauger as well. He's got T, Matty and Basin just up the road from him. So Glenn's got a real cluster of cars here just up ahead of him, who he can try and negotiate as quickly as he can. So Glenn in quite a good position here actually. Could certainly finish, I reckon, top 5. It's definitely going to be on the cards here for Glenn. See Matty Pitts moved ahead of T there up into P5 as they come into the final corner. You've got Basin here right behind as well. Scott's coming into the pits, so that's his second stop there. He's getting that done out of the way now. So let's see, so Glenn put these tyres on at the end of lap 9, so he's going to have to do 20 laps on these hard tyres. That's going to be a heck of a feat here for Glenn. His tyres are going to be shot to pieces at the end, but he might try and do a one stop here. If he can make that work, fair play to him. But he's going to have a lot of cars behind him on faster tyres near the end of the race. See Faulkner there making a move on Street Boy. And Street Boy trying to come back, but C. Faulkner seems to have that done. No, Street Boy's going for a cutback here, and he's going to make that move beautifully there. Street Boy here, not giving this one up, as these two. Oh, it's this contact there. Street Boy revered across the track there into C. Faulkner. C. Faulkner backs out of it for the time being, and is he going to have another chance here to have a run at him? Street Boy there was a bit aggressive, I've got to say. Was that accidental? I'm not quite sure. But either way, he really did ram into the side there of Faulkner quite substantially. So Street Boy for the time being holding on to P10 in this race. Glenn now on the back of Drauger looking to try and pick up another place here. It'll be P5 on the road. Oh, as Drauger gets a 3-second penalty there for track limits. I don't think that's his first either. It's the track limits are absolute killer around this track, I have to say. They really are brutal. And Drauger and Glenn both coming into the pits here at the end of lap 20. So that's big news there. I imagine probably medium tyres going on for both of those two. So it looks like the only drivers who I think can conceivably one stop are Justify and Badman. Which is pretty damn impressive considering they've been the quickest two over the course of the race as well. C Faulkner here trying to go around the outside of G.C. G.C. fresh out of the pits on his medium tyres. It's going to give this a fight here. He's back up the inside, and G.C. with a lovely manoeuvre there up the inside of the right-hander, and has got himself back up into P6 there. Excellent racing there between those two, giving each other the space nicely. As Scott there waiting in the wings, watching this unfold in front of him as he's running there in P8 right behind these two. You've also got Street Boy and Truckee battling it out over 9th and 10th places at the moment as well. But G.C. there getting his elbows out and managing to make that move up into 6th place there. C Faulkner with another penalty here. The penalties are being handed out all over the place right now. So Clen, after his latest pit stops come out in P13, obviously he put those hard tyres on lap 9. He'd done 11 laps on those. It would have been starting to go off a little bit. But he's gone for another set of hard tyres here. No penalties for Clen. That's going to be crucial by the time we get to the end of this race. But if Clen isn't able to get into the top 5 in this race, then it could be a bit of a problem here in the final round of the season, because Justify will be 6 points behind, or less even, potentially. And that will mean that Justify could win the last race and win the championship. So as it stands, the championship could potentially be out of Clen's hands here. Or rather, should I say, in Justify's hands. That's probably the better way to put it. But Street Boy and Truckee side by side here through turn 2. And is he going to have that one done? Street Boy on the outside, Truckee not giving this one up. Still side by side here between these two. As Street Boy, they're holding it around the outside beautifully. Truckee's going to look to try and get a bit of a run here down this little straight in towards the right-hander we go. And Street Boy has that one covered off. Up into 9th place he goes. Great little fight there between those two. G.C. now knocking on the door of P6 on those fresh medium tyres. He should be able to make this move on C Faulkner without too many issues, although towards the end of the stint I wouldn't be surprised to see C Faulkner coming back at him. But at the moment G.C. trying to take the fight here to the RB Cash App car. Now we believe that everyone on track now can go to the end on the tyres they're on, so we should be seeing everybody going to the flag without any more pit stops, maybe except John, because he was been on those medium tyres for 9 laps actually, and Mango as well. There's 10 laps, maybe might just about get there. I'll have to see. It could be close. Oh, is C Faulkner there getting out of shape, and G.C. is going to seize on that. Up into P6 he goes without any dramas there. Scott's also going to follow him through as well, and C Faulkner losing 2 places there down the start finish straight as Scott follows him through up into 7th place. There goes Scott now looking up the inside of G.C. as well, but G.C. is going to hang it around the outside there of turn 2 and holds onto that one for now. But Scott here has got a bit of a run, looking to the inside of this little straight into the right hander we go. Is he going to poke nose on the inside? He's going to think about it, he's going to try it, and Scott here almost made the move. Oh, as he had to just back out of it there. A bit of lag going on as well, I think, on my end potentially, and Scott does manage to avoid contact there as he was poking a nose up the inside of G.C. but couldn't quite make it happen there, and no harm done, thank goodness, between those two. Laps winding down here at the Lusail International Circuit here in Qatar for the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. 7 laps left to go, and 7 laps left for Justify to absolutely cut that gap down in the championship. 21 points behind before tonight. As it stands, he'd have a 4-point lead in the championship, but I reckon that might be unlikely because Clen, running in P11, has got fresh tyres on and should be able to pass some of the guys in front of him. Also, a lot of the drivers in front of him have penalties as well, which is definitely going to play into his hands. So I'll be surprised if Clen finishes out of the points as he pumps in the fastest lap of the race there. Does the current championship leader. Draga in the meantime has moved ahead of Street Boy, and Clen's also following him through as well. So Clen now into the points. He's now trying to move ahead of Draga as we see C Faulkner's out of the race. He has crashed out here. Have we got a safety car? I think I can see that yellow dot in the bottom corner of the screen. The safety car has been deployed, and that is going to be an absolute nightmare here for Justify, who has led this entire race up till now. Has now got a bit of a dilemma here. He's technically, well, he's got a free pit stop to Basin, but not to Badman. So what does Justify do here? Oh, the dilemma here. for the race leader. He's coming into the pits, so he's sacrificing track position. I reckon Badman will probably come in anyway, so in the end no risk there for either of them two. And Basin way far behind there in third place. It's not going to be a risk to either of these two, so these two both with a free pit stop, and presumably the medium tyres will be going on for each of these drivers. Justify putting the mediums on. Badman's also coming into the box now, and I would have thought the yellow wall tyres going on for him. Oh, soft tyres for Badman, okay. Wow, that'll be good for the first couple of laps after the restart, but I reckon Justify had the advantage towards the end of the stint. Who knows how that's going to pan out. Interesting. Okay, well, Basin and T into the pits, having had that free pit stop. Does Rexy Boy come in? Yep, Rexy Boy's in. Scott and G.C. a little way behind these on the track there in P6 and 7. So pretty much everyone is going to have fresh tyres on here. So Scott's coming in. G.C. rolling the dice and staying out on the track for the time being. Draga's coming in. What about Clen? Clen's coming in as well. Street Boy's coming in. Matty's coming in. So's C-Mac. So's Truckee. Does John come into the pits? Yep, John's coming in. Mango a long way behind here on the track. Currently about half a lap behind, so not sure what's kept him over the course of this one. But anyway, here we are then. This is it. This is the final few laps of the race here for the Qatar Grand Prix at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League, and Justify has now got a race on his hands, but he has got the medium tyres, and I reckon over a 4-lap stint it's going to be quite close between the soft and the mediums, but he's going to need to get his elbows out on this restart, I'll tell you that. Basin is no slouch in third place. Badman as well. We know about Badman already, but Basin showed the pace in quali, and it's kind of lucked into a bit of an opportunity here to fight for the win due to this safety car. So this could be race on. This could absolutely be race on here tonight. It can be fascinating to see how this one ends up. So White Shadow coming in there at the end of lap 24. I think he's a lap down, so it's not going to cost him track position. So after coming into the pits, Clen running in 9th place, but this has really benefited Clen here, because obviously with the all those penalties being handed out for the drivers ahead, he's now in a prime position here. So this could bring Clen into the top 4, and if it does, then it's going to be well, very advantageous for him indeed in his championship, because he'll be able to finish P2 behind Justify in Abu Dhabi and still win the championship. As things stand at the moment, Justify will have the lead in the championship, but it's very unlikely that Clen is going to finish this race in 9th place. Extremely unlikely, I would say. So we're just waiting for this safety car to end, and I'm itching for it to get going again here. I just want to see how this race is going to end up. Can Badman and Basin take this fight to Justify and potentially put the championship contender under a bit of pressure here after a race in which he has controlled and been the dominant force from the get-go? Managed to keep Badman behind despite having medium tyres on. We know the mediums over a stint are the worst tyre compared to the hard tyres, but he was able to keep Badman behind for the entire first stint. Came in, put the hard tyres on, and was controlling the race beautifully until a couple of laps ago when we saw that safety car sign come up. It's going to be one more lap on the safety car here, and then it will be a 3-lap dash to the flag here. Oh, Who wants the safety car to come in? Put your hands up if you want the safety car to come in. Yeah, thought so. It's getting a bit boring now. Go on, piss off into the pit lane, come on. We don't want you anymore. Come on, there we go, right. 3 laps left to go here for the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be Justified getting us back underway. The driver who's led this race since the opening lap. Kept Badman behind despite Badman having the DRS. From lap 2 all the way till it was lap 12, I think, Justify came in for the hard tyres. But here we go then. Justify's got the decision as to when to go at his disposal here as we come into the final corner here. And looks like we're underway. Justify drops the hammer. We are racing once again. Badman though looking pretty close here as they come out of the final corner, and he's going to have a chance, and Badman is going to make the move for the lead as they come over the line. So Badman here leads over the line. Is that legal as they come into turn 1 again? So Badman now has the P1 there as they come onto the brakes, and he's made that one brilliantly there. Justify's now got it all to do here in the final 3 laps of the race. Basin there running in P3 with his penalty, as well as G.C. Scott there running in P5. Glenn is still in 9th place, although he's just managed to move ahead of Tralga there up into 8th place as we speak. He's now trying to make the move here on T, as well as T holding his position there right in front of the Williams driver. But at the moment Glenn has made up 1 place here on this restart. Justify's championship rival has lost 1 place and is trying to keep within the second barrier here to Badman, who's on those soft tyres, but currently struggling to keep tabs with the new leader at the moment. As we can also see, we've got Scott moving ahead of G.C. up into 4th place. No penalties for Scott in this race, so he's in a good position right now to try and get himself onto the podium at least here in the closing laps of this race. Basin with his penalty here, so Scott will get that one by default at the end anyway. What's Glenn up to here? Currently running in 8th place. He's trying to challenge here on the back of T as they're fighting out over 7th and 8th places. You've got Rexy Boy and G.C. just up ahead of them at the moment. So Glenn can see the leaders going through turn 1 there. Amazing how things can change in the race. Oh, is T there going wide, and Glenn's going to sense an opportunity here down the start finish straight. They're all going to have DRS on each other though. But is Glenn going to be able to make this move at the end of the straight? He's got the slipstream there on the cars up ahead of him as Basin's moved ahead of Justify down the straight into P2. Glenn though can't make the move here on T at the moment. He's going to have to hold position for the time being, but Justify will get that P2 on the penalties by the end of this race anyway, because of the fact that obviously he doesn't have a penalty himself, as Basin here just about within that 1 second here of Badman. But can Justify make this move on Basin and get himself back up into P2 here? Can he stay within a second of Badman and potentially have a crack at him on the final lap of the race? Let's see, as we see Justify trying to get himself back into range here. Glenn in the meantime still stuck behind T in the fight for 7th place, and they're all in a DRS train, so it's going to be hard for Glenn to make that move. There's Matty Pitt there with a 3-second penalty. That's another one there for Matty, currently running down in P12 here in this race. Let's jump to Justify here as he's on the back of Basin coming through the final few corners of this lap. Now, how close is Justify to Badman here? Is he going to have a chance to have a crack at him on the final lap if he can get ahead of Basin? I think he's a bit too far back here on Basin, to be honest. Does Basin have DRS? Let's see. Justify definitely has DRS on Basin, as he's going to try and make the move here into turn 1. Can he get around him here? These guys are about a second behind Badman at the moment, but I think Justify might have lost the chance to take the win here tonight at the Qatar Grand Prix. He's definitely going to get P2 though anyway, as Glenn has moved up into P7. Now P6 on the road for Glenn. Is he within the 3 seconds of Basin? I don't think he is. So Glenn will have to settle for P6 unless he can get ahead of Rexy Boy on this final lap of the race here. But Badman leads. Basin in 2nd place. Justify there in 3rd place on the road. We'll get a second once the penalties reshuffle the order a little bit here. Final lap here at Qatar. And Badman's been handed this one on the plate here. Justify was the dominant force for the entire race. It's a lucky night here for Badman, I have to say. But here they come then into the final few corners of this Qatar Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League for the penultimate round of Season 13. Badman, just a couple of corners to go. He is going to win the race here tonight as he comes through into the final corner. And he had a battle with Justify in the opening stint, kept him on his toes. He's going to capitalise on the safety car beautifully here. Badman takes the win ahead of Justify, who's second on the penalties. Scott over in third with Basin fourth. Rexy Boy fifth. Clen over in sixth place in the end, ahead of G.C.7th. T-Bone eighth, with Truckee taking ninth on the penalties ahead of C-Mac in 10th. Matty 11th. Draga 12th, with Street Boy over in 13th. 14th on the penalties, Draga 13th, and John's going to come through the final corner here, and it's going to be 15th place, and the last driver to cross the line there as he comes up towards the line. But commiserations to Justify on that one. That was bitterly disappointing, with that late safety car really scuppering his chances. And we go into the championship finale on Thursday night. All Clen needs is a podium, and he is the champion of the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. Justify needs to win, really. But all Clen needs is a top 3 finish on Thursday night, and he will be the champion for the second season running. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to all the drivers for watching this back. And if you did enjoy it, then I'm delighted that you did. And it's all full steam ahead for the final round on Thursday night. So yeah, looking forward to it. And we'll see you all then.